strongman thing. Yeah, it's called there it is, the Commissioner of Power.
It's a cool name.
It's all shot in 8K.
Who's this guy?
Interesting.
It's about I think it's about a person. Like I didn't look too super into it. I played it for like 30 seconds to kind of catch a vibe. And I think they're kind of focusing.
Terry Todd.
Yeah, I don't know
used his passion in writing, weightlifting, and history to shape the Iron Game. Never heard of him in my life.
Yeah, it's so funny, right?
Yeah. Two-time national powerlifting champion from 1964 and 1965, who extended his impact as a coach, writer, journalist, commentator, event director, educator, and historian.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
Don't know him at all.
No, I don't either. Which is cool because most people go to what's his name for like the Godfather of Strongman or the Godfather of Strength, Anderson.
They have some kind of they shoot some of it like in a looks like some kind of strength museum of some sort. Like some of the interview stuff.
I wonder if it's York.
Yeah, I was gonna say
you
that's the only one I know.
It looks huge though. I don't know if it looks like York. It doesn't look like small like
I've never been to York. I don't know.
I've seen pictures of York. It doesn't look like that. It looks like looked like the Smithsonian or some shit. It was big.
Say his wife's a strength icon.
Yeah, she is too.
Jan Todd.
I don't know any of these people.
Then they talk about powerlifting greats Larry Pacifico, Bill Kazmaier.
Yeah.
And NBA star Lance Blanks. No idea.
That's the guy. Yeah. See how that's not York, is it?
I have no idea. I've never even been. I've only seen random pictures.
Anyways, it looks good. It looks like the production looks like stellar.
Yeah, they always do it.
Have you run the intro?
They normally do a pretty damn good job.
That's a yes.
Are you guys cold? I've been freezing.
No, I'm freezing. I was gonna do what you did, but the hat doesn't make it makes it hard.
I'm not that cold at the moment, but
I've just been freezing. I don't know what's wrong with
it's been
me.
I've been a little cold.
Poor circulation.
Don't have.
That's him. You think that old?
That's the guy. That's the guy.
Good old Toddy.
That's Toddy boy.
You don't talk about Anderson. What's his name?
The Spider Silva.
No, I don't know. Not Anderson powerlifting guy. No.
Yeah, maybe not recent though. Like 50s, 60s. Like what the Anderson squat's named after.
Oh, I don't know.
What's an Anderson squat?
Bottom up, Paul Anderson.
Bottom up, Paul Anderson. Yeah.
That's who I think of when you think of like the history of strongman.
Oh, I've seen that photo.
Yeah. No,
with the big wagon wheels.
He's like the first dude to squat ever.
Really?
Kinda.
Probably
because
not, but like...
Well, no, maybe. That's why the Anderson squat's the thing, is that there wasn't such thing as a squat rack, and he would dig a hole, and he would squat, and then he'd fill in the hole and squat, fill in the hole and squat, and then get stronger and stronger bottom-up squats. Because there's no such thing as a squat rack.
Yeah, now in a squat rack, you put the bar on...
You've seen it, like on the pins.
On the pins or on the straps or whatever, on the webbing straps, and then you...
Yeah, and this dude,
from the bottom.
This dude was born in 1932, so he's got to be before this Todd guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, obviously they're telling a different story. But
yeah, you choose your
dig a hole. That's like the walk 2 miles in the snow
or pick up the calf.
Yeah, dig a hole, fill it in. That's crazy.
Yeah,
probably actually did it once. That was probably one time and done.
But before we get into anything here, interesting that Mike and I talked about this that. USAPL kicked out of the IPF now.
Are we doing this? Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. Yeah. We're just...
What happened?
There's drama everywhere I want to cover.
What? How did I miss this?
Yeah, there's drama happening everywhere, man.
It's been brewing for, 18 months, 2 years?
It was kind of already, like, announced. You know, like, USAPL kind of was like, yeah. And the weird part is they got basically... paraphrasing for all the nerds that are going to get on me. They basically got kicked out for drug testing too much.
Because they wouldn't...
Which is fucking awesome.
Because they wanted to do more testing.
They did do. They have done.
They did more testing, but they didn't do it all WADA style testing because it's very expensive to do.
So they cut some corners or did some violations?
They only did the WADA testing with top athletes.
And then the regular testing with another third party.
Yeah.
Got it.
And
love that.
IPF didn't like it at all. But the crazy thing is that there's already a new affiliate.
Oh, of America?
Called Powerlifting America that no one has ever heard of and was just established.
Great name. Yeah, I mean, in all
you guys got to mess with leagues and things.
No,
and
it's
powerlifting.
trash.
It's just trash. Like, where is the legitimate one? It's like turned into boxing. How boxing just got so out of control with
Yeah.
belts and like divisions. Like no one knows what the hell's going on anymore.
USAPL was the go-to for a good maybe even 6 years. You know, they really had it down. They had consistent-ish judging, as best as you can do in these sports. Consistent-ish rules, a clear path to become a world champion that mattered because you're facing other good competition. Because there's other world.
It looked really fun at the Arnold.
No, it was really good. Yeah, then it got into the Arnold and really had really good displays of invitational and masters and bench only and full meet. They did a great job. Tons of arguments about the money and how they spent it and whatever, but there's always going to be issues. I do know a lot of the homies, a lot of the USAPL homies are kind of throwing around ideas on Instagram, trying to see how they could make it its own thing in a way, and make it its own legitimate. I don't know. Because around the same era as this drama started, a little bit before, other big meets started throwing down big money. Yeah. Now there's maybe 3 or 4 big powerlifting meets that are invite only or qualified to get in that throw down thousands of dollars. Might hop on the sauce for a couple thousand. Like it makes it a whole different ballpark.
Yeah,
it really does. It really does. So I don't know what the future holds, but it does kind of hurt the sport in general as shattered as everything is.
Well, I'm sure that they're banking on the fact that a lot of people think that they're going to qualify to go to Worlds or whatever,
100%.
and so they'll be willing to switch to this new federation in order to do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whereas the talk out of USAPL is very, kind of make the best of a bad situation, lemonade, silver lining, polish a turd kind of rhetoric.
Wait, so does this mean that USAPL just doesn't exist anymore?
No,
it's just an American, an American Fed.
So now there's no nationals or
they have no national affiliation.
I mean, they could potentially like hold their own championship and maybe not call it Worlds and invite other nations there, just lifters. They can. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? That I guess that's the benefit of being shattered, is there's no rules now.
But then you have the IPF, which will probably
ban those people.
Push down, down on this new powerlifting.
But the USAPL, and no offense to any other nations, there's obviously insanely strong friends. My favorite lifter, the Canadian fork lifter, Butner, up in Canada. My other boy, Bryce Krawczyk. There's a bunch of really strong people around the nation that compete in the IPF for sure. But America is pretty dominant as well. We bring more athletes. We are stronger historically.
Yeah.
Not always. There's always some Russians and other nations that are smashing fucking weights. But I do think the USAPL does hold some weight still. They might be able to do something. They might be able to get some people. Or I don't know. I really don't know.
I feel like they have a moment, and then the moment could be gone.
For sure. And the drug testing should raise eyebrows for the other nations, I would think. That the IPF is not only okay with, but promoting less testing.
Yeah,
so you think these other nations, lifters that are truly wanting to compete naturally, would then be like, nah, I don't really want to be there.
But at the same time, they all voted. They all voted to kick him out.
The Fed leaders, not the athletes.
Right.
And so I'm talking about the athletes competing in a USAPL championship that's worldwide.
Yeah.
Right? The meet directors or Fed directors, they don't give a fuck. It's all money for them. Right? But the athlete.
If I was an athlete,
you are, buddy.
If I was like, say I'm in like, still active member of USAW, right?
Yeah.
And this shit goes down, USAW's kicked out. My first question is, okay, well, who's giving out national medals or who's like hosting the national meets? And whoever's doing that, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, that was
and
kind of my
if
point.
that's not USAW, like, I'll see ya.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm guessing that's probably what's going to happen with USAPL, or
I think it'll come down to the majority of not only popular lifters but strong lifters where they are, and then competition breeds the
better start cutting those checks. Those influencers, trendy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want to compete against the best. You don't want to go win them because I can go fucking find some Fed and win Nats right now for myself, and I haven't competed in 6 years.
Which is
stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah, you want to go
find
find
the best thing about
best.
weightlifting is it doesn't have that problem.
I know.
And I don't think it ever will.
Probably
to be
not.
honest, like,
and probably because of the Olympics, right? Because at least there's a path there. So
that's true. Anyways, the gladiator one. So the difference is, we're just talking about shit, but you can like press out. It's kind of more of like a relaxed meet. It's
or you could argue like an old school meet.
Yeah, it's
like
kind of
put that shit over your head.
Yeah, just get it over your head.
I like that.
A little more relaxed.
Yeah.
Like loud music. It's like a glorified, managed gym session.
Yeah, I mean that's
And that's his whole vibe though. It's like, let's make this like not so serious. Let's have a good time.
That's where strongman.
Press it out, man. You get it over your head. And you hold it there for 3 seconds. Like fucking good by me.
I think that's where strongman has an advantage and got popular in a way. It's like pick up this rock, move it 100 feet, bro, and I'm gonna do it faster than you.
For sure.
And now it's that's tightening up a little bit because there's more money and more sponsorships and everything gets a little bit more political. But
Rogue right now is just pulling strength interest people's mouths just open and just dumping strongman down it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a strongman fan.
No,
I was watching strongman in the 90s on fucking some random channel on TV, HBO. Sometimes they would have it on there. I've always been a fan.
That's still the best though. Like when it was literally like early days UFC, when you're seeing like a 600-pound man fight a 180-pound man.
Oh, dude, Tank Abbott trying to throw people out of the ring.
And then early days strongman, when you're seeing Arnold go head-to-head with some 49er fucking linebacker at a deadlift. Like
with a crop top on.
Love that. Like true just savagery. We need a new sport almost for that.
Yeah, dude, that shit was sick, dude. There's a lot of good ones on YouTube still.
No, YouTube's the best.
Down the rabbit hole.
And I think is it ESPN Classic and stuff has some of them now.
They'll be on TV still, yeah.
Well, back in the
PBS and shit.
Yeah.
I think even before that, there was like Battle of the Network Stars and Superstars and stuff like that, where it was celebrities mixed with athletes competing
American Gladiator.
in weird ass things.
I even liked
Pros vs. Joes.
I was gonna say a newer version is Pros
like,
vs. Joes. I don't know. My assistant, shout out to Tim Sprinkles, dude. My assistant basketball coach, and then who I ended up coaching with, a great mentor of mine and good friend, stud athlete. He was going to go to UW and play quarterback. He was a starting point guard for a Nevada championship team. Got a couple concussions, so the college route didn't go. Ended up at Sac State and coaching us and shit. But he tried out for that and like was on last cut to go pros versus Joes. He would have killed it.
I heard somebody got like fucked up.
Probably.
That's why it doesn't exist anymore.
Probably. That was a good show though.
But then again, like, you didn't see that coming.
Yeah. You're going Terrell Owens, who's like kind of angry, and he's playing basketball against some like washed up college kid.
They're putting up
Weekend
some
warrior.
crazy, just linebacker set up against some like amateur.
Gladiator too. American Gladiator is a great concept. Shout out to Jen Wiederstrom.
Yeah.
Jen was on there smashing heads. I love it.
Micro Trend.
What's fucking the Rock show called? Titans?
Yeah, I watched a little bit
Remember
of
that
it.
was like blowing up and then it just disappeared?
Yeah.
What's funny is all those shows were the same. Stone Cold had one too.
Yeah.
And then what they start doing, they just started recruiting influencers and CrossFitters.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody who won all those are CrossFitters.
Like turning into the challenge now is just everybody from like everywhere now.
It's MTV
Girls-
Challenge.
Yeah.
That was the same show. MTV Challenge was really, really good when it came out too. Shout out to Kenny.
Yeah.
Our boy Santucci.
Dude, the challenge is like making more money than ever. I think it's probably more popular than ever because now they're taking people from like Big Brother, Survivor, fucking all these other shows now. They're taking people from all over the place. So it's just way,
TV's just dying, sadly, right? Like everything's series.
Everything's just morphing into like the big Paramount networks.
Yeah. And what do you really want to watch? Like a really, really well thought out shot Game of Thrones and shit. Like I haven't watched as much of that, but I do know even the competitive tag had a little run this last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like how bad is it?
Parkour.
How bad is powerlifting? That competitive tag is whooping our ass.
Yeah.
More organized, probably drug tested better, and on TV.
Probably. Yeah. But it's faster. It's a faster game.
Yo, dude, they go ham. They're
Yeah.
like doing monkey bar 360s and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
So funny.
Ninja Warrior, for Christ's
Kills
sake.
it. Kills it.
Ninja Warriors.
Again,
still
well, a
thriving.
season or
people
two.
fail.
Yeah.
It's like watching batting, in Major League Baseball.
It's like fucking what was the shit show that's highly racist now but was really funny in the time? MXC.
MXC. Yeah. Most Extreme Elimination Challenge.
That's literally what the Ninja
That was
Warrior is.
the probably most racist show that we've had in the last 20 years. Insane that was on TV.
Yeah. Potentially, yeah. It was
FX.
so funny.
Oh, it was
though.
funny.
Oh
Don't get
my
me wrong.
god!
Like, if it was on, I'd still watch it.
It was-
but it was just like the stereotypes that
Yeah.
it's leaned into.
Yeah.
But man,
Just dubbed over trash.
yeah, they would just say nothing. Like, I eat grapes, and then they would just like, what?
That was a good impersonation.
That's what they would do.
Yeah,
Remember
and then
that
he'd
shit?
just slide down a water slide.
Just face plant.
I eat grapes. That was the Squid Games. That was Squid Games inspiration.
I did not watch Squid Game. I've still not seen it.
I just can't finish it. I thought it was good.
It was fine.
I watched 3 seasons, 4 seasons. Was there? Episodes. Was there 6? 5?
9.
And I just kind of oh really? Oh, then I'm only halfway. I'll finish it because they just announced season 2, and I get it. It's fine.
I
don't get the hype.
It's one of those shows where like does not need another season.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? It's gonna be the same thing. That's like it's you know what it is? It's fucking Saw. right?
It's Saw. It's Saw.
Yeah, it's Saw.
It's Saw.
It's Saw with a little bit more creative games.
It's Saw with like neon colors
and a PE
like
class,
animatronics, and like very good aesthetics, like very good like Korean aesthetics.
You are
Yeah.
not selling me at all.
Yeah, no, I don't know why it was so hyped.
No, not.
It was
selling me.
hyped because of a perfect storm of TikTok and Instagram, and like
Yeah.
it was very marketable.
And
The guy
nothing-
tried to get it made though for 10 years, no studio to pick it up.
And there was nothing else like popping right then. Like
No,
a
it
new
was
season of Dexter just dropped.
perfect.
Now shit's like running, you know. So like, yeah, it's good timing.
Well, Netflix did a thing they've never done before: is release a series around the world at the same time.
oh, was that Squid Games?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
the
that
very
makes
first
sense.
time that they've released something everywhere.
That makes
and
sense.
I mean, that's
of course you're gonna do good then,
yeah.
right?
It's, I mean, that's a server issue
Yeah,
as well. But yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. That makes more sense though.
It does. Because I one of my gaming homies, shout out to Profe, dude. We're just shouting everybody out today. They all need some love. Everyone's feeling down. It's cold and sad. Profe, my boys.
There's a weird vibe out.
There kind of is, right?
Yeah, there is.
I feel it. I don't know if Mercury. I don't know if you've been reading Zodiacs and shit, Dean.
Is there a lot of Mercury in the
Zodiac or
Yeah.
retro? I don't know. But
Retrograde.
Profe's a mega fan. He powerlifting kid, but he's in Belgium.
Uh-huh.
And he would hit me up all the time because we like similar shows. He's like, "Yo, Fresh Prince is on Netflix." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, go there." It's not on there because it's
Yeah.
only in fucking Belgium.
Right.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I get all pissed.
Yeah, Squid Games. I think also too like the Korean movie just came off the winning the Oscars 2 years ago, last year.
Yeah.
Can't keep up. Parasite.
Yeah, a
Parasite.
little
So
bit.
there's a lot of
trend.
hype around Korean like cinema and movies too, and then this comes out.
Makes sense.
And it was done well. The acting's phenomenal. I'm
It's
honestly
good.
starting to think that Korean actors are probably the most talented, believable actors I've
Well,
seen. That's
that's
what makes like that show so good because the people are so fucking good at acting.
Yeah, they're real. I mean, that's what like K-pop's like a real thing in America now. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
like
K-pop is like literally taking over.
yeah, it's Justin Timberlake on crack.
Yeah. Oh, they also like over there.
Again?
You want to get like conspiracy? Like they're basically like K-pop is basically just like the tool they use to basically persuade the youth.
Yeah, culture control.
It's like literally like, oh yeah, okay, let's build this K-pop band.
Yeah.
Let's do this, and then like we're gonna persuade them. It's just basically like brainwashing.
Talking about propaganda.
Crazy. Big business.
I was segueing to propaganda.
Oh, give me a minute.
All right.
I got two small segments before we even get there.
Yep.
I'm still the idiot watching every Walking Dead thing that exists.
I've
Yeah,
heard it's
same.
good. I've never watched it.
I've seen them all. Oh
and-
no, I'm not watching those other new shows.
That was judgmental. I like that.
No.
You're not watching Fear or World Beyond.
I started Fear. Fear's fine. World Beyond, no interest in that.
Really, it's very interesting. It's interesting to me because it explains a lot of weird shit that has been referenced in the other two shows.
Okay, like
But
the people
Fills gaps
in the,
kinda deal.
the stormtrooper people and shit.
yeah, I mean it's a YA show supposedly.
What's
as
that mean?
Young adult.
Oh. I watch a lot of shit like that on Netflix. There's a lot
So
of
do
like
I,
young
yeah.
adult shit that's kind of interesting.
Hey, Chris Sling and FaZe put me onto that animated show. Did you?
No, which
Yeah,
one?
we'll talk about that later. I can't remember what it's called.
Anyway, though, there was in the main show there was Jadis, the one who was responsible for Rick being kidnapped after he was.
The girl at the junkyard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So she talked weird, right?
Yeah, she had a different kind of like way of carrying herself. She had like that aesthetically pleasing, like all wood storage container.
Yes. So in this last week's episode of World Beyond,
Okay.
she is in it
Got it.
because she was part of the CRM, whatever that is. And she explains to one of the main characters of that show, who has known her for years, but we've actually never seen any of that go on.
Yeah.
That the way that she talked back then was on purpose, because she said the fastest way to create a movement and a community among people is for it to have its own vocabulary.
Okay.
And I'm like, holy shit.
Some like cold
That makes
shit.
sense.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense for podcasts, for TV shows, for influencers, for
Yeah, slang.
yeah, the way that you talk about things,
Yeah.
the memification of it of stuff,
Yeah.
is so powerful. I
yeah.
just had never thought about.
We're in
it
a meme
before.
culture now. Everything's
For sure.
everybody communicates through memes. I talk to friends from high school. We don't really talk. We just share memes together.
Yeah.
Like it's our form of communication. It's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, connecting through humor.
It's weird.
Yeah, I had another thing, but I can't remember what it was. So we'll go on to this.
On the propaganda.
On the propaganda, Tillman Story, the documentary from 2010, 2011, something like that.
Yeah, it was 2010.
I didn't know this story.
I knew the very, very surface level story
Same.
that there was, the football player was killed in friendly fire, and there was some controversy around that.
I think
that was about it.
I think it's probably because of our age, eh?
Yeah, we were like, I was when this came out.
7th or 8th grade. Oh, the movie.
No, the movie came out. Yeah, it was, so it was like 2004.
21.
I think it happened in 2004.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But it's all kind of stems around 9/11-ish.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
decided to join up like right after 9/11.
So he was
the
probably
day
like
after.
3 years in the service when he died.
It
so?
took
Yeah.
him. It took him another 6 months to actually join after that.
And then,
So-
they said he did one tour before this, right?
It was his second
The-
tour.
the-
Yeah.
this was the beginning of his second
Yeah.
tour. I think that the thing that really is striking about this is that a lot of people have an impression of the story. They think they know what the story is. They think, oh, this guy was like a big hero, and he chose to, and he was a big football star, and he chose to step away.
Well, he looks like Mr. America, right?
Yeah,
His
he looks like
jawline
Captain
is,
America.
Yeah,
He
his
looks like-
jawline's fucking made of
He's
steel.
as alpha as you can get.
Yeah, he's jacked. He's smiley. He's doing fucking handstand push-ups and random shit.
He's
you know?
likable.
He's kind of frat boy, but very likable, like
Yeah.
non-douchey
But
frat
also
boy.
smart.
Yeah,
Surfer boy, kind of too.
Yeah,
you
kind of
know?
half and half in between
Yeah,
Captain
like
America and
long
Surfer
hair
guy.
some of the time.
Yeah, coaches seem to like him. I think Jim's right. Like,
Leader.
yeah, the hero thing, and what the documentary was surprising for all humanity to me is how his parents spoke so highly of him and so like human of him. How they like explain their son. Like they try to like explain some of his flaws in some sense, but still think so highly of who he is rather than what the nation and the NFL obviously tried to make him.
Yeah.
And they didn't detach those things, because he did sacrifice going to Iraq and Iran and all these things, right? So they play that card while still saying like, no, you don't know him and you're lying right now, which is like the entire story, obviously. But I just thought it was so interesting how they speak of him. Their parents seem fairly like conservative in terms of like maybe religion or how they speak, and yet they're still like, yeah, his favorite word was the F word, like little
for
stuff
sure.
like
Yeah.
that is like funny,
Yeah, for sure.
Or his-
they
or
were
his
just kinda
brothers.
like good old people.
Yeah, really.
Pretty sure they were an atheist family though.
He
Yeah.
is for sure. I don't know about the family.
I think that. Well, he said he was. They said he wasn't raised with religion.
Yeah, and then his brother,
But
obviously.
he was interested in reading all about religion, which was
Yeah.
interesting to me. He
Yeah.
would just randomly read about the book.
Yeah.
He'd randomly read the Book of Mormon.
Yeah,
or
that's
randomly
wild.
He was just interested in people and their thoughts and their process.
That's just kind of weird too. Is reading about religion? I understand. Reading the Book of Mormon and being not religious is weird.
yeah. This guy,
Right?
he's just a learner.
Like reading about Mormons
Yeah.
makes some sense.
They just went to the source.
diving in
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
And maybe he read other books as well. That's just the book
yeah,
they
I think-
mentioned.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
it-
the one they talked about.
Right.
I think. Well, they said he read a lot, and
Right.
he had favorites, favorite writers, favorite poets, all that kind
Right.
of stuff. I think it's interesting though that the movie hits you immediately with the story being so different than what your impression is. Like the parents are like, if they had known my son,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have done this thing to him.
Yeah.
And
His brother speaks similarly.
yeah, that they basically they violated who he was as a person to make him a propaganda thing, starting with him leaving the NFL.
Right.
And you get the impression that he was a good soldier, but you don't get the impression that he was like Captain America either.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
Yeah. I mean, he made Army
And that was
Ranger.
by his
which is-
design, right?
Right.
His personality. He didn't want the look at me, look what I'm doing kind of guy. He was very closed off, very private.
Yeah.
He even didn't even want a traditional military funeral.
Yeah.
Right.
And they
Because
show
he was afraid that they might use him as a propaganda tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they show that in some of his like football interviews too. Like kind of nonchalant about his accomplishments and talking about team and talking about
Yeah,
other
he
things.
he never was like, I killed it today,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. There's a lot of interesting pieces about him and his family that definitely the military, and then obviously like how shady the military feels after watching this, right? Like they're threatening his squad mates to shut the fuck up. not tell the story.
So I have a little bit of a opinion on that. That's not necessarily. Anyways, I understand the military, because we know how the military works. It's very top secret, very like, you just don't worry about shit that's not your job or like your position to do. And I kind of understand them like saying like, hey, this is not your fucking position to go start talking about this to everybody.
Sure.
Like, yeah, it's not.
They have PR to
out.
handle. They have PR to handle for sure.
So like telling them to keep quiet about it.
Yeah.
Like I understand that. You can't just like let this shit get out and start a media frenzy with the military on 100%. The news stream.
Even though it's all understandable, and even the propaganda escalated to maybe be toxic, the original orders may have been, who knows, because it's the government, but the general intent may have not been negative, right? Like in any death situation, if you guys have been a part of it, those listening, like making the call or who calls who and how you spread that news is very sensitive.
Yeah.
You're not just going to call someone and say like, yo, they're dead.
So just to recap, what happened was that he was killed in Iraq, and they immediately made it sound as though he was killed leading his men into a difficult
like up a mountain
situation, and that the enemy killed him. And
I'm pretty sure they said those exact words too, right?
Yeah.
They said that he was killed from Taliban, from terrorists.
Yeah, and he had a Silver Star awarded to him before his body had cooled.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's him.
My experience, and I'm assuming that my son Sam might shout in if I forget anything here along the way. I saw this movie when it first came out in the theaters, so 2010, 2011, whatever.
This was in the theaters.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
Yeah. In 2014, Sam's best friend, the kid that I refer to as our third son, was involved in an incident in Afghanistan where a member of the Afghan army opened fire on a group of people doing a review of a water project at the Afghan military academy. He was in a building that was supposed to have been secured and firing through the window of a bathroom. The highest ranking U.S. military officer to be killed in battle since Vietnam died that day. Our boy Will was one of the only two people there. He was there on a personal security detail. He was one of the only two people that fired at the shooter. He was pretty grievously wounded. He had to have basically limb salvages of his arm and leg. It's a whole other story. But our experience with the military then was that you're getting two tracks. You're getting a track of people who just want to help you in any way they can, and they are completely uncoordinated with each other. And yes, this goes all the way up to the White House, just like this did, all the way up to the White House, because it's an international incident. But it's an international incident because there were like 5 countries there, and people were supposed to be doing jobs that they didn't do. And so that becomes a big issue that
Security
they're trying to
breach or system breach,
trying to tamp down. We are getting calls from people in the chain of command while he is in surgery at Walter Reed, telling us to please take down his Facebook because he had posted some pictures of his
wounds,
not even so much his wounds, but his clothing, his uniform, his pack and stuff. And post incident,
okay.
They
just wanted all news under their control.
They just wanted all the news under their control.
Yeah.
Somebody,
which again, like in theory, like Dean's saying, like PR wise, like that's smart, right? Like I get
this isn't this isn't a high school fight,
right? And that could easily be manipulated to something very negative.
Yeah. And
with power comes a lot of control.
Right.
Good and bad,
right.
Depending who's in doing things.
Somebody snuck into Walter Reed, we believe, impersonating Navy personnel somehow, and then posed as a Red Cross volunteer in Walter Reed trying to get information about the 3 people who were wounded in that event. In that event, and that story ended up out there without their name. So without his name, there's a version of the story in Washington paper and the London Daily Mail, all this stuff. It's a big deal. And
didn't in this documentary they mention that I remember one of the guys mentioning that he says that they were getting fired on, and he's sticking to that story.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said, no, those weren't just someone discharging their weapons. Like, there was mortars coming in at us.
Yeah.
And that's why. Was he like one of the guys, one of those 5 guys that were shooting at them?
Right.
Or was he just another guy on the...
Both could be true, too, right?
Who knows?
The story at least explained.
They never really explain that.
Yeah, they don't have visuals, obviously, but they explain the story, and it sounds like one group of Americans are kind of...
Do they have visuals?
They definitely might.
Because they had that whole production of that rescue of that girl.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody had cameras for that.
Yeah.
But I know they were doing that intentionally.
Jessica Lynch, right?
Jessica Lynch.
Yeah.
That was all complete bullshit. It was all propaganda. It was all made up.
Yeah.
But I just wonder, both of these things could be true. That supposedly, or at least my understanding of this story, Americans were kind of at the bottom of a hill in a caravan. Then a group kind of went to the top of the hill of a caravan, and maybe there was someone on the other side of that hill, right? So shooting could have been happening from both sides. Both of these stories could be true-ish.
They didn't really harp on it.
No.
Maybe there's more information out there if we were to research it and find out.
Right, which is another thing about.
They just kind of showed one guy say, "No, we were."
Yeah, we were in a fight. Yeah. But then in the review of the papers that the parents started to go into and the reports, which all this is hard, right? It's the only way to handle law and our court system is witnesses and whatever, but there's such flaw in human memory, especially during traumatic, intense situations, let alone regular situations, and that's been proven psychologically time and time again. So, we'll never know.
No, we'll never know.
Yeah, there was an investigation of the incident that I'm talking about, and when that came out, when the report came out, people are like, "No, that not
didn't
really,
happen.
not exactly that way." There are details of the story that make it even worse, but. What are you gonna do? And a thing that really struck me here, actually 2 things. One of them is I believe that the military did all that stuff to try to cover it up. There's no question in my mind. I also don't necessarily ascribe bad intention to that.
Correct.
They felt as though that was the right thing to do.
You don't want to see. Not everybody wants to see how the sausage is made.
No, actually, exactly true.
Well, that's what the parents do really well of explaining. The mom kind of talks that way, and she's not that negative about it. She's mad that they're lying, but she's not mad at why always. I think how she explains it.
I think my personal biggest gripe with the cover-up and the manipulating of the story was they just told a completely made-up story.
Right.
Instead of just beating around the bush of what happened.
Sure.
You can still... He's still a hero. He's still a man that sacrificed his life for his country. That happened to be an accident, that happened, but it doesn't take away the fact that what he's been doing there for 2 tours.
Right.
So if they just went with that and not dealt with or not giving him this, they had to take it to that propaganda level, right? Where they wanted to use him as a symbol for young men to want to join and be heroic like him. That's where it got shady, right? Because now they're like, okay, we're going to make up this story. We're going to give him this award. We're going to put his poster on every recruiting wall we can. And we're going to make this story up. And then we're going to use this NFL turned Marine. I'm pretty sure he was Marine, correct?
Yeah.
No,
Army Ranger.
Was it Army Ranger?
Yeah.
Sorry. Excuse me. That's embarrassing. I thought it was.
No,
anyway, sorry.
Today's
Army Ranger.
the Marines' birthday. Happy birthday, Marines.
Sorry about that. But so Army Ranger, they're just, it's just... It's unfortunate and it's very disturbing, but also, fuck, man.
I mean, they just don't want to show humanity or that there's mistakes that happen.
Yeah.
They don't. The word friendly fire, they probably have never said in their lives.
Well, that was an interesting language, semantic thing to me because friendly fire is what all the reports and stuff said as they finally started to come around to it. But the family always said fratricide, which is a different thing in my mind, a different connotation, is in they feel, and they didn't really come out and say it, that he was maybe going to be a public relations problem for them because he got to Iraq and said, oh, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So they're almost alluding to that it was intentional?
Yeah,
They do mention that in the movie a bit that we haven't touched on too. Is after their first tour, the brothers, because all three of the brothers joined at the same time. Yeah, two
brothers and then a guy that became like their best friend.
Yeah.
But wasn't their best friend going in.
We're all about it in the beginning, and then after the tour and some things they might have seen, seems like they weren't as about it.
Yeah.
You just start to think, I don't want to go too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole with that. I just don't, there's just all circumstantial, like, opinionated stuff. But it's more like, why isn't there better communication? I'm not there though. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like where's the why? Like I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
like why is there not easier communication from the guys at the top of the hill to the guys that are at the bottom of the hill? Like
right.
where is the like how come they couldn't like what was there an issue with like they couldn't hear him yelling or screaming? Was it because they didn't care?
Because he's yelling, "I'm Pat fucking Tillman. Stop shooting."
Also, if you're just yelling in clear English to your guys down at the bottom of the hill, like
you'd think
you're at the middle of the night, you're in the desert, you're on these hills that are gonna just put all the sound out wherever, or that 50 cal thing was just banging and they couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, potential. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just so fucked up.
Yeah, it's so far out of anything I've ever experienced. I have no fucking
that's
clue.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I just wish I knew more about the communication side and why there was just
is there no radio?
No radio or no. I just don't know enough about it. I'm not a military guy, but I just want to know.
Right.
I'm so curious to see like how could this go so fucked up?
Yeah. Do we not know a squad's 800 yards in front of us heading up a mountain? And why don't we know?
And they were just together.
Right. Why don't we know that?
Then you start thinking shit like, well.
Like
what other? None of this makes sense. So this has to be the end.
Because they mentioned that as well, that it seemed like Pat was maybe heading down a political route.
They seem to believe that like family and friends thought that potentially he was working toward.
But doesn't that contradict everything they've said about him not being like this ego-driven guy? Because like, there's every damn politician has an ego problem.
I think he became more of a crusader. I think that's was.
What you feel like he just had to do it because it was his destiny.
That's the vibe I got. Is that his personal, I don't want to say morals, but opinions changed on everything after his first tour. And maybe he wanted to make a change, which does seem to fit his like teamwork thing. And I would agree with you that most politicians, and that's the whole argument against a lifetime politician, right? That they probably are money and power and ego driven. But in his case,
might come in with that intention.
Maybe, and who knows if he would have been a successful politician, being actually maybe a caring guy, right? If you like, chances are low. But
he would have said, "Oh, this is bullshit too."
Yeah, he was going to at least maybe try.
Yeah, but I think that's what got him there in the first place, and then it was, I think, maybe part of why he wanted to leave.
Yeah,
but he didn't. He absolutely had the opportunity to bail.
Yeah.
Before he went on the second tour, he could have gone back to the NFL, and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah, I think it would have been a mini deal.
I don't think.
You don't think publicly?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Everything can be managed.
Yeah, true.
As long as I don't think so.
As long as you're not so far off of the beam of the truth, everything can be managed.
Yeah.
I think the Riz fell apart because the story was way too far off the truth.
It was a big story before he got shot. Yeah.
Leaving
the NFL.
A huge story.
Yeah, that's why. That's I guess what I mean by
you got
him
Donald
going.
Rumsfeld telling him to pay attention to him and look out for him, which they clearly didn't.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, his interviews with the coach and shit were sad. There's a lot of sadness. Hard to watch shit for me.
It was brutal for sure. I think. Yeah. I think that the documentary itself though kind of exploited the lack of sharing information. Like it was like. More of a there were things covered up for sure. I'm not denying that, but I think they're using lack of like these military personnel not telling more about the details. They're using that like against them, where it's like that's just like that's what they're.
Yeah, it's protocol.
It's protocol. Like you can't just force that out of them, and they have to worry about themselves too. Let it get handled higher up. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
it's in a wishy-washy spot.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I guess you don't blame them if the military or government are working on a solution or an answer.
It's
something.
an active. Well, until it was closed or whatever. If it's still open, who knows? I don't know.
That's what I'm getting at. Or are they just covering up? There's a difference. There's a difference between like working on it and Jim, don't say because we're working on this back here, rather than Jim, don't say I'm tucking this under the rug.
I can just tell you that
investigation.
Yeah. Or actually trying to find an answer or care.
Yeah. I can tell you there's a whole lot of don't say that you get. You get from, and I'd never heard the expression big army before, but that's like the army at the Pentagon. That's where the That's where it comes down from.
Yeah.
That's where they tell you what to do and what not to do, and you have to go by a different last name, which we did. You know. Which was weird.
Which again, for like some reasons, safety and stuff makes sense, and then for others, if it gets taken advantage of, it maybe doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I don't know to what extent it was safety and what extent it was just feeling like that the press couldn't get to us,
right?
If they didn't know who we were. I bet they put Will in a part of the hospital that for VIPs and whatever, just so that people wouldn't just have walk-in access to him.
Oh, for sure.
But back to the family expectations. I'm going to throw this up here. This is actually from the incident that I was talking about that we were semi-peripherally involved in. This is the wife of Major General Green. And there was this article in 2015, about a little over a year after this attack, where her husband died. And she was military herself. She was retired military. And even she's like, there are people not telling us the truth about what happened there. Like, why wasn't that building cleared? So she's down to one question, really. Why wasn't that building cleared? Why did they say it was cleared, but it wasn't cleared? And she's military, so she knows all the machinations.
Process.
Yeah.
And this guy was what was it? You said it was an Afghan soldier
that killed.
Was like hiding.
That was hiding out.
And
or spy of some nature, maybe.
Well, it must have been a spy situation because he was like part of the Afghan military that we were training.
And the report says that he was like a lone wolf independent actor with mental health issues.
Yeah.
And I think
but
maybe.
It seems a little too
like a Fort Hood kind of situation.
It seems a little too well thought out for someone with mental health, but maybe then I don't know.
Yeah. The Fort Hood thing was like one of our own.
Yeah.
Fired on others of our own and killed people. But yeah, it was, I don't know. I mean, it was the strangest thing I've ever been involved with. And I just never thought before about the extent to which you don't understand what happened in the moment, really. And you get a few different stories and you try to find the truth. And then there's the public face that you may or may not be able to share the truth with, and then there's all the manipulation,
right? Politics to government to army,
right? And
what are they telling the Navy? Maybe they're telling the Navy some other shit to look better. Like you just
right, and these people are not talking to each other about what the story is going to be. It's the lack of collusion that's really startling, honestly.
We're also talking about what's the most sacred, protected thing that we have in this country, though, is our military secrets and stuff like that. Like we're talking about the most secure, sacred, informational thing that we have is like the government, military, which is the government.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's just a lot of trust we got to give up, which is scary. Yeah.
No, it's just like we almost have to be in this weird space because we're not going to be able to do anything about it.
Yeah.
That we just gotta accept what we get.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to know shit if they don't want us to know it.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Which is fucked.
Yeah.
It's not a good look that they destroyed his uniform, his body armor.
Oh my God!
His
they said
diary.
They burned his. Yeah, they burned his clothes. They burned his diary.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Really, really weird.
That didn't happen in our case. Those things actually got shipped back.
That's crazy. And
Sketch.
that one also, like, we don't need to go into too much detail, but the story from his buddy Ben about the water faucet.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God,
that was disturbing. Yeah, that was that. I mean, I saw this movie before, and I hadn't seen it since I had this experience, and so
a little different.
Like at the time that I was going through the experience, I thought, God, some of this stuff just seems very familiar to me, So I get it, and I mean, my best friend was in the Air Force at the Pentagon, and I, heard the military backstory, for a long time.
So you got all the secrets about UFOs.
Exactly. Actually, the thing that a 9/11 related, or not, 9/11 related thing was the fact that he was working on, before this all happened, he was working on an interior radar look from the military to the continental United States. Like we didn't have that before, and that was one of the things that hampered the response to 9/11 on the day, was that military aircraft didn't have a way to look at domestic flights.
Which, do you think that should have been set up like from the jump?
Yeah, and so that was actually one of his responsibilities before 9/11 was actually investigating how that could work.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, was
so
I saying?
Does he know where the footage is though of the buildings hitting the Pentagon?
No, he passed away several years ago.
Oh,
so
okay. Sorry about that.
and so yeah, he didn't know any of that stuff. But the idea that that what you're seeing in the public is not really the truth necessarily, or it's the truth that people understand, or the fact that you have people who are testifying who are in circumstances they're saying as little as they possibly can, and they don't actually have they don't have very much firsthand knowledge of anything, you know, and then when it's over and nothing happens, because that's pretty much how it works, not just in America but everywhere.
Yeah,
it is hard to get a big like Perry Mason courtroom moment out of any of this stuff,
and then they just pin all the fault on the retired general,
right? Scapegoat,
because like
it's easy.
There it is. Like they probably worked some backdoor deal with him. Like hey, like someone's got to take the blame for this. You're retired. Like you know, we'll give you your pension.
Yeah, and a house out in Virginia.
Yeah, that's probably how that shit goes down. You know, like
you do wonder what the case looks like. One, how often things of this happen, and did this one leak in a way because he was a big name and like some story had to be told. But then what happens to like the kid that wasn't in the NFL?
Yeah, Joey from Iowa.
Yeah,
Des Moines.
If something similar happens, how easy is that to brush under the rug or not talk about, or you know what I mean? And like this could be way more common than we know or think, or it could not be. I don't know.
Well, I mean, in a chaos, you know, I'm sure it happens.
Yeah.
Too often.
And that's kind of what they talked about in some of the notes that the mom was reading about the soldiers that were maybe there. Like, were some of these guys like a little too eager to get involved with the party? And which you could like.
Here we go.
It sounds crazy, but like it's understandable too. Like you've been trained for months, and now you're out in the desert, scared out of your mind, adrenaline's pumping. Like, like something you want to do something probably. You know, like the reason for signing up was probably a passionate, caring reason, and now you're just a little
you start to think
too hyped up on a Red Bull.
You start to think about You start to think about like these guys are responsible for killing, you know, so and so, someone they know. Like I want my vengeance, or like someone knows somebody that passed away during this war. You know, that's their problem. You know, and so it's to some extent it's like we gotta get these guys back. Man. Like
you're not gonna be like if you're Uber calm and collected riding a Humvee in the middle of the night, you're probably not. Like you're not that kid. Like you're not there. Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I've been deep into Band of Brothers lately. It's 20th anniversary. I talked about this before a little bit.
What was that? Showtime?
HBO.
HBO when it came out.
Yeah. It's on HBO Max. It's really good. Probably the most accurate representation of World War II like ever. And it's weird because it's a little from a stylistic standpoint, it's a little all over the place. And not every episode plays out in this exactly the same format, I guess.
Was it multiple directors?
Multiple directors, yeah. Tom Hanks was behind it. Steven
Spielberg.
I remember that. Post Saving Private Ryan. But I've been following along with the HBO has like a podcast for it, a 20-year anniversary podcast. I'm talking to the guys and the guys who were the actors, and then their experience with the real guys. And
like
they're learning about stuff, and you can see it a little bit in the series that there are some of those people who I just want to kill Nazis. I just want to kill Nazis. I just want to kill Nazis. And there are others who begin to experience the horror of losing friends and stuff. And after a while, what they're really most concerned about is getting their asses home.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole philosophy of like, there's nothing we can do. Die's already cast. All we can do is the best we can do, and we may be wiped out in this. We may already be dead. And that one of the guys, that was his thing, is like you haven't accepted yet that you're already dead. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that the spectrum of experience that we're talking about, where some people are this way and some people are that way, that's kind of nothing new about that.
Right. And it's something the majority of us can't even begin to comprehend.
No.
It's not like playing a basketball game. I get a little bit of fight or flight there, but it ain't this.
No, it's.
Any closing thoughts here?
I thought it was, pretty decent. It was, like I said earlier, it was a little fast paced, which was fine. I think the one thing I kind of didn't like about it was was kind of choppy with like the football footage. Like I could have done without any of the football stuff.
Yeah.
And just more information.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I know the whole problem is lack of information.
Sure.
In this podcast,
Yeah,
like,
right.
or excuse me, in this podcast, in this documentary,
just half the information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But like like I just wanted, I guess, more, like less football stuff. I know it's important to the story, but I feel like they got that point and then they kind of brought that point back in. Like we already know the point of this, and I just want a little bit more. Maybe stories about people involved and maybe more interviews with the people involved. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's like a really only complaint.
I think because it was military stuff, it was probably hard to get even. I was surprised how many interviews they even did get.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that too. They didn't talk about the fact that his brother was Major League Baseball draftee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't remember that.
Makes sense though, right? Just a freak family.
Yeah.
Bunch of good athletes.
Imagine, and his brother, didn't they say his brother was like 20 minutes, showed up to that scene 20 minutes after that shit happened?
Yeah.
And they had to like confiscate his like guns and stuff.
Well,
Do you don't think that he didn't know right away that like where's the bodies of the other guys?
right.
Yeah.
Like where's the other?
Or why'd the fight just stop? Or like something, right? Like if
So
you're in
one-
that world, you would know.
One
Why
Afghan soldier died. Yeah.
They shot him before they got to him.
Right.
They would, but it was one of our Afghan trained soldiers.
Yeah.
Probably wearing Afghan army gear.
Yeah.
They had their own military gear. It wasn't like they're wearing like
Yeah.
And they were fighting with them in Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah. Afghans
Right.
fighting. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Messy.
It just does. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I got no closing thoughts. But next podcast, maybe a little lighter.
Yeah, we'll try to go a little lighter next time. But we wanted to hit this one just because somebody suggested it months ago, and too late for Memorial Day when this would probably be the most appropriate. So we did it for Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to all of you veterans, and I hope that the world is treating you well in your post service years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll probably hop on Rogue just came out with the Strongman documentary. We're probably going to hop on that, and then we'll see what else. See where the content world takes us, ladies and gentlemen. Where can they find you, Dean?
They can find me at deanstores.ck or Caffeine and Kilos on Instagram.
Easy. Ladies and gentlemen, brand new podcast every single Wednesday. Appreciate you. 3sb.co. Third Street Barbell on Instagram. Everywhere else you want to find me. I'm Silent Mike. Thanks for kicking it. Ratings and review are always helpful.
We've got on December 18th, the North Pole. It's a deadlift-only meet, unsanctioned. We're having it here at Third Street Barbell. We are Xing with Caffeine and Kilos on this project.
Xing.
It should be a tremendous amount of fun. Come compete. You can go or come on the day and watch. You can go to actually our website. Go to thirdstreetbarbell.com. There's a button that will take you to the registration on competitioncorner.net. And I am at the Jim McDonald on all those social medias. The show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye, kids.